Hey everyone, it's Nate here from flyplugins.com, and welcome to this tutorial video on how to create a quiz and place it within your WP Courseware course. We've done a few iterations of this video as we've added new features to the quiz module, but let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, we're going to go on over to the training courses area within our WordPress admin dashboard. And we're going to be working with this this course up at the top here, Art History, which is course ID 4. And what we're going to want to do is go ahead and create a quiz for this one. So if we go over to Modules, Units, and Quiz Ordering, I just want to go ahead and show you that right now we just have one module. We have one unit within that module. So what I want to do is I want to add a quiz to this unit for the Renaissance period. So if we go back over to our settings panel over here, you can see that we have the ability to add a quiz or survey. So let's go ahead and click on that. Now the WP Courseware quiz module, quiz and survey module is actually pretty robust and feature rich, so we have quite a bit to go through here, but we're just going to go through our fields and settings one at a time and walk you through this. Obviously the first thing we're going to need to do is create a quiz title. This will display on the front end for your students. I'm just going to go ahead and put in Renaissance period quiz. Next, we have a quiz survey description, and this is just for your reference. It's optional. It will not be displayed on the front end. You can put anything you want in there if you need to provide yourself with notes regarding the quiz or survey that you're creating. Next, we have quiz type, and obviously this is required. We have the ability to create a survey, and obviously with a survey there are going to be no correct or incorrect answers. It's just going to collect information for you to view on the back end in the admin panel. So say that you want to solicit some feedback on course content, course design, anything like that, you can provide a survey. You know, that's a great thing to do, to provide at the very end of your course. Obviously it's going to be optional, but you can include that so you can collect information from your students. Next, we have our two quiz modes. The first is blocking. So what this is going to do is, as it states, it's going to require your student to correctly answer a certain number of questions before proceeding. So you can see that when we move from survey mode to quiz mode, we now have a field that shows up here with our required passing mark. So let's say that you want students to answer 7 out of 10 questions correctly before proceeding to the next unit. You can choose that percentage mark, and that's going to be your quiz mode blocking setting. You can also select to include a quiz which does not block progress, so they can answer questions incorrectly or correctly. It doesn't matter how many they get correct, they can just move on, and you will still receive the answers on the back end in the course gradebook, which we have a separate tutorial video which covers how to access and use the gradebook. So we're going to go ahead and just do quiz mode blocking. We're going to set 70%, that's fine. Next, we can see that we have a field or a required setting to show or not show answers. So quite simply, this is either going to display the students' answers which they have submitted. Once the quiz is submitted, you can either choose to display their answers which they put in or not. We're going to go ahead and select to show answers so that we can see what that looks like on the front end. So then we're just going to save our quiz settings. And now we can see that we've got a couple of new things that have popped up here. Number one, we have at the top, we have a dialog box that tells us our quiz details were successfully created. We have a link to return to the quiz summary page, which can also be accessed down in the sidebar here. That's just going to return you to a list of all of the quizzes which you have created within the plugin. Also, you're going to see on the right-hand side, most importantly, we have this Add Quiz Survey field floating box. And WP Courseware currently supports multiple choice, true, false, open-ended, and file upload questions. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and add one of each of these. And then I want to walk you through the options for each question type. So I've got one of each in, and I'm going to scroll back up to the first one here, which we've added, which is a multiple choice question. And we'll just run through all of the fields and settings. Obviously, the first for each of these question types is going to be the question. So, is there a question? Is there a statement? What are you asking for within this quiz question? You can just place that within the question field. Next, you'll see that, for example, we're now working on the multiple choice question type. By default, we have 3 answer fields that have popped up. You can use the plus or minus buttons to add or delete fields. So if you need, you can add an unlimited number of options to a multiple choice question. So we have the question type. We have a question image URL. So for example, let's say we're working currently on an art history course. Let's say we want to include an image, a painting, and we want to include an image by Leonardo da Vinci, and then we want to ask the student to select which artist painted that particular painting. We could add the image of that painting in the question image URL. We could provide the artist's names within the answer fields, and then we could select the correct answer. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this out. Okay, so I simply put in a question: which artist completed the painting below. I've included 3 answers: Da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael. I can select an image for the question image URL. And as you can see, we have a few images here in our WordPress media library. We're just going to select one, and that's going to be added as our question image URL. So obviously this painting is the Mona Lisa, and we would select Da Vinci as the correct answer. So that's how that works with the question image URL. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the individual answer image URLs. I'm going to change this up a bit. Okay, so now as you can see, I have changed the question: which of the following pieces was completed in the year 1517? I've removed the question image URL, which would display at the top of this quiz question. Now I have individual answers. I have the Mona Lisa, I have the School of Athens, and I have the Jan van Scarel self-portrait. So what I can do is I can add individual images for these quiz questions, and I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, and keep in mind I have not sized these photos or these images uniformly, but if you, no matter what size or what dimensions you upload them as to your WordPress media library, that's how they're going to display. So obviously you're going to want to edit these images to provide some uniformity to the size. So if you want, if you want to provide just thumbnail images all of the same size, you're going to need to use a photo editor or an image editor to do that. So just keep that in mind. These are going to be different size images, and you'll see that on the front end. But for the correct answer for this one, we're going to go ahead and select the Mona Lisa, which was completed in the year 1517. So we've selected our correct answer. Then we scroll down. We can see we have a hint field here. This is just something you can use if you want to guide your students toward a particular point within your course content where they can find the correct answer to the question. So, we could just put something in like the answer can be found in chapter 2. We'll just put that there. Next, we see that we have an explanation field, which is also optional. And as it states here, for the optional explanation field, this is displayed after the quiz is submitted to offer information on the correct answer. And this is only going to be an option that's available if you have chosen to show answers in the quiz settings. So what will happen is the student submits their quiz questions, submits their answers, and then you can provide them with an explanation on those correct answers, and we'll see how that works on the front end. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop in an explanation, and I'm going to go ahead and click Save Questions at this point. And as you can see, we have a field up here that our questions were successfully updated. So you can either save, choose to save after each individual question you create, or you can just go through and create all of your questions and then save them. I think it's just a good practice to get into, that once you create a question, just go ahead and save it. You can see once we click the Save button, we now have a red box that shows up here above our quiz questions that states that we do have questions that are going to require manual grading. So we have chosen to add an open-ended question and a file upload question, and we have also chosen to include blocking with this quiz. So obviously the plugin cannot determine what the correct answer would be for an open-ended or file upload question, and we'll get to those in just a moment, but it's going to go ahead and tell you that you're going to be required to manually grade those before the student will actually be able to move on to the next unit, since it's blocking, and that is covered again in the gradebook tutorial video. So let's go ahead and scroll on down. We've got our next question type here, which is true false. And for the next few question types, we're not going to cover the question image URLs, because we've already gone over that in the multiple choice question type. So we'll just skip that, as well as the hint and explanation fields for now. I just want to show you how the true-false question type works. Obviously, we're just going to stick with the same theme here. Our question is a statement. Actually, the Mona Lisa was completed in 1517. And as we know from our previous question, the answer to that is true. So again, you could choose to provide an image for the question. You could choose to provide a hint or an explanation. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and fill out the question and correct answer. Again, I'm going to go ahead and save. And again, we're going to see that we have the message that our quiz questions were successfully updated. Now I'm going to scroll on down to our open-ended question, which we have not addressed yet. And I have the option again to provide the question or the statement. So sticking with our theme, I've just put in what year was the Mona Lisa completed. Again, the ability to provide a question image URL if you need to do that. We're not going to do that for now, as we've covered that. Next, we have a required setting, which is what size box do you want the user to type within? What do you want to display on the front end? Do you want a single line of text? Do you want 4 lines of text, 8 lines, 15 lines? We've got a few options here because you are going to have varying amounts of required input, and this will give the student an expectation of what they need to type. So obviously for a question like in what year was the Mona Lisa completed, we're just going to require a single line of text because we just need a year to be input there. We also again have the hint and the explanation. So I've got my question, I have my size of box, which is a single line. I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, so now we'll go to the final quiz question type, which is going to be the file upload. So we're going to scroll on down to the bottom here. Now what this allows you to do is provide a statement, provide a question, and then ask a student to upload a file. This may be an image, it may be an essay. You can denote what type of files that you require. So let's just go through this. We have the question. We've just included please upload a painting by Da Vinci. Again, the image URL if you want to place an image within the question. Say you wanted a student to describe a diagram or something like that, you can include the image. Permitted file extensions. This is pretty important. Now you can put whatever you want in here, but obviously you can see by default we've got doc, PDF, JPEG, PNG, JPEG, GIF files. You can require text files, anything you want. So keep in mind though that if the file extension is not in this field, the student will not be able to upload it. So for this, let's just say, since this is going to be an image, let's just say we want it in JPG. So that's the file type that we want. That's the only one we're going to allow. Again, you can include anything you want. You can have require video files, MP3 files, audio, anything like that. But just keep in mind that whatever you include in here is going to be that will be the only file type that the student can upload. And those are going to be available for you to view, listen to, watch, whatever, available for you to download within the gradebook. Again, we cover that in the gradebook tutorial video. So when they upload that file, it's going to go into the gradebook for that student, and you can access that file. Once again, we have the hint and the explanation fields here. So we're just going to go ahead and save our final question. And now we have our quiz completed. Now that the quiz is completed, I am going to go on over to the quiz summary, and you can see that if we scroll down here, we have our Renaissance period quiz, and we have it's a blocking quiz with a minimum pass mark of 70%. We've chosen to display answers. We have 4 total questions. We have, as you can see, associated unit is in A right now. I'm going to show you how we associate this quiz with a particular unit in just a moment. But as you can see, if we need to, we can always click on the edit button to edit the quiz, and that's going to take us right back to where we were, where we can edit the quiz questions, answers, etc. We can also delete the quiz if we need to, so that option is there. But let's go ahead and head on over to our training courses. And we're going to go into our art history course, which is up at the top of our screen here. We're going to click on modules, units, and quiz ordering over on the right hand side. And now we can see that we have our Renaissance period quiz, the one that we just created. It's down at the bottom here. ID number is 13. So what we are going to do is just drag that right over and place it within our Renaissance period unit, and then we are going to click at the bottom of our screen, Save Changes to Ordering. Now what I want to do is, since we have our course created, our module, our unit, and our quiz, I'm going to log in as a test student, and I'm going to take the quiz. Okay, so as you can see, we have logged in as one of our WPC test students, just a test account. To access the front end, this student has permission to access the Art History 101 course, which is on our very generic testing site here, so just a basic WordPress installation. But as you can see, we've accessed the page which hosts the course outline for the Art History course, and we have created our Renaissance period quiz, and we've placed it within Unit 1. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And just for illustrative purposes, within this art history course for this Renaissance period unit, we've just included a video, which you might choose to do, requiring students to watch a video and then take a quiz after they have completed watching that video. So if we scroll on down here, now we've got our quiz. You can see we have the Renaissance period quiz. We have the title, which you've chosen and input when we created it. We'll see that we need to answer at least 3 of the 4 questions below to progress to the next unit, because we've chosen 70%. We have 4 questions. Obviously, they're going to need to get 3 of those correct to achieve a 70% passing mark, but you can set that to whatever you want, 50%, 100%, whatever. First, we have our multiple choice question at the top here. And as you can see, we have our question, which we put in on the back end. Which of the following pieces was completed in 1517? We have our images, which we've uploaded, as well as the answers, which we input in the fields within the quiz creation module. So we can see that we have the hint down here at the bottom. The answer can be found in Chapter 2. And we are just going to go ahead and select the correct answer, since we know it. We're cheating, right? Which painting was completed in 1517? The Mona Lisa. Okay, that's our multiple choice question. Again, the images are optional. You can just have answers, and you can just list out those answers as needed. And again, you can have as many as you require. Going on down, again, we didn't include images on questions 2, 3, or 4, but question 2 was we also didn't include hints, I'm sorry. So you can see that while we have a hint up here with question 1, we don't have those on question 2, 3, or 4. We just left them out. Question 2 is going to be our true-false question type. So we've got our question, which we put in, the statement. We have our true-false options here. We're going to go ahead and select true. In question 3, again, question 3 and 4 are the open-ended and file upload question types. And again, the plugin cannot recognize a correct answer for these, so they cannot be automatically graded. They're going to need to be manually graded within the grade book for this course. So you're going to have to do that as the instructor on the back end. But as you can see here with this question, number 3, it was open-ended, and we chose to include a single line of text. Again, as you saw, you have some options for that. So we'll just put in our text there. And finally, we have question number 4, which is our file upload type. You can see we have the question, please upload a painting by Da Vinci. We have the ability to add a file, and we have the allowed file types, which are displayed to the student on the front end. So we're going to go ahead and select a file. Okay, so we'll choose file. And we know that the Mona Lisa was painted by Da Vinci, so we're going to go ahead and choose that. It is a .jpg file, which is the required file type. So everything is completed. We've completed all 4 of our questions here, and the student would just click Submit Answers. You can see that it's going to upload those answers, and we have a notice that your quiz has been submitted for grading by the course instructor. Once your grade has been entered, you will be able to access the next unit. Now that is because we have chosen to make this a blocking quiz, which requires a passing score of 70% or greater, but we also have an open-ended and a file upload question included. So since the plugin cannot automatically grade those 2 quiz types, the student is going to be required to wait until you have manually graded those 2 questions because it's blocking and they're open-ended and file upload. Again, you're going to do that through the gradebook. Watch that video on the gradebook tutorial. And then as you can see, we're going to go down. We have correct answers displaying. We've chosen to do that. So for question number 1, which was a multiple choice question, the correct answer was the Mona Lisa. We have our explanation displaying because we chose to include that on the back end. Question number 2, we have a correct answer of true because it was true false, so that will display. Questions number 3 and 4 will not display a correct answer again because they are open-ended and file upload. So the system does not know what the correct answers are, but those will be left out for those question types. So that's it. You've got your quiz placed here. And once you go in and provide a grade for these question types, the student will be able to progress. So that's all there is to it. If you have any questions, let us know through the support desk, and we hope you enjoy all the features that we have included within the WP Courseware quiz and survey module. Thanks for watching.